If you're sitting here still trying to figure out what faceless YouTube niche to start, this video will save you months of your life. Because here's what happens to most people. They go to YouTube, they find some guru telling them to start some meditational or motivational or AI swap channel or some AI storytelling thing. They then spend the next 2 months building this out. They hire the team, they post 30 videos, and they get nowhere. And then they think that YouTube automation just doesn't work. It works, they just pick the wrong niche. Niche selection is the most important thing within this business, and you do it right, everything else kind of becomes a smooth process. You get it wrong, and no matter what else you do, editing, perfection, or how well your thumbnails are, it's not going to save your channel, and you're just not going to make serious money. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what niches are currently printing in 2026, what the actual RPMs are, what a channel can realistically earn with 50K to 100K monthly views, what a channel can realistically earn at 100K to 500K plus monthly views, and I'm also going to tell you the 3 common niches to completely stay away from, including the ones that people are still pushing. These gurus are pushing them, but they've already collapsed. Let's get into it.
So I want to first go into how you can actually evaluate the proper YouTube niche before you get into anything else. And this is the result of 700,000 plus long form views in 28 days. My clients doing $300 days. I even have clients paying $1,000 days. And the thing that I want to preface is that most people choose a YouTube niche based on what interests them rather than what's actually profitable. They see someone else do a niche and they're, oh dude, I'm gonna do this because it's intriguing. Guess what? You're gonna make fucking $0. Okay. I'm gonna try to curse less because I know it's not good, but I am very authentic myself as well. So I do want to just point that out. Anyways, that's the wrong starting point, right? I have everything written down on a Miro board, but I do want to make sure that you understand fully and very, very easily learn the process of picking niches that can actually get you to $10,000 plus per month. There's gonna be 4 main things I'm gonna cover, which will determine whether or not a niche is going to be worth. So the first thing that you have to understand is the niche that you are choosing gonna work for small YouTube channels. One of my faceless channels did $1,000 days, multiple $1,000 days, even close to $10,000 weeks in Canadian dollars, and 100,000 plus long form views in its first 5 hours of being published. Not because I found a passion project for this niche, but because this niche was proven so heavily by other competitor channels that are small. And when you have that, proof of concept, you're not reinventing the wheel, and you're kind of already getting into a machine that is already shown to do success over and over again. Right here, I have Mr. Beast. If the only channels, right, with 500 plus thousand subscribers are succeeding in the niche that you've chosen, and they're the ones getting views, that niche kind of has like a cult factor, I like to say, and those channels win because they already have a massive fan base that's kind of like, giving them an advantage, an authoritative advantage. And that's why Mr. Beast does really good doing these crazy viral content. His gaming content does well, his reaction content does well. He has like a baseline view count of 100 million probably, right? Not because the niche is super good and accessible, but just because he's built up such a massive cult. All right. So when you understand that you need to see small channels are actually ripping, and channels with 5 to 20K subs making 5 to 20K dollars per month, that is when you win, right? So these channels is basically the ones that you want to find. Channels getting 100 plus thousand views on individual videos, like mine as an example, perfect green light, boom, you're gonna get a swoosh 3-pointer like Stephen Curry. So the second thing that is super, super important for you is like the market cap for each individual niche. You want to look at the top 1 or 2 channels that are performing the best in this space and really analyze, like, okay, are they making 5K a month, 7K a month? Are they demonetized? Or are they actually making 50K, 100K, 200K plus every single month? Because that's the most important thing. You don't want to copy the channels that are actually performing the best in the industry, but you want to understand, okay, hey, this is where the ceiling is capped at. This is actually the potential if I went all in and became an industry leader. And so like I said over here, they're making 30, 50K a month. Cool. You could probably at least make 5 to 10K and get a slice of that pie. If the industry leader is pulling in that, you're not going to even get close to it. This is what I've actually had to learn the hard way. When I first started, I chose niches that were literally making $2 grand a month. I was doing like top Airbnbs 2026 in Tokyo, or like 2024 in Tokyo, whatever. No views. There just wasn't enough of a concurrent attention in that space. So that's so important to understand. But then also the third conclusion point is, what is the RPM for the niche that you've chosen, right? Not every single view count is equal, and you're gonna find that there's gonna be cases where a YouTube channel can pull 500,000 views a month at a $2 RPM, and there's also gonna be content that has the same views with a $7 RPM making way more money, right? The difference of making $1,000 per 500K views and 3.5K for 500,000 views is literally just who watches your audience. And so that is what what the RPM is, right? The spending power of your viewers and how likely are they to buy the ad that gets placed in front of them when the ad hits them. So you want to choose niches that attracts buyers and just people who have spending power, not just browsers or people that are poor. I always like to say Indians, kids are always going to be no-goes, and investors, entrepreneurs, business owners, and Americans are go-tos. This is how I'm literally able to do close to $2,000 days back in September on a channel with less than, 10,000 subscribers. This absolutely works, and so I think I know a thing or two about what I'm talking about. I don't know why I include this picture, maybe I'm just a retard, but number 4, does the niche that you have chosen actually have longevity? There's no point in you picking a niche, right? Before I go into more detail, I've seen people who crack, 35K months, 40K months, and then the next month they get demonetized for inauthentic content, and then they can't monetize it back. They try to replicate it on a new channel, and by then too much saturation comes into play, and then you kind of got a quick cash grab. Yeah, you probably got 5 figures, but you can't sustain that. How is that going to be sustainable for the next 20 years of your life? This is the one thing people skip, and it's going to bankrupt you later. If a niche depends on a trend, algorithmic hack, or some sort of content that YouTube's already cracking down on, you might not even make money for 6 months. You can make money for 6 weeks and then be back out on the streets. That rhymes. So you want proof of a niche that has been working for multiple years already and still growing, which is how I'm able to crack multiple videos. This isn't months. This is literally a single video. $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $4,000, even had more than that. I don't know why it's not included. So you want to find a small channel that's been posting for 3 to 4 months, has under 50 videos, pulling in 5 to 10K per month, and if that exists in the niche, you are golden. That is my strategy for actually getting profitable videos, profitable channels, and profitable income streams long term. That being said, I am going to show you now the direct niches and examples that you can iterate on today to get that number happening. Before I go into the 5 niches as well, if you do want to work directly with me and have me implement my own team, my own strategist, and my own knowledge and expertise into these niches for you and make sure that you virtually guarantee to make an income online this summer, I'll have a link in the description for you to apply to work with me directly. It takes a minute to fill out the application form. From there, we will potentially get you inside and absolutely crush. So, first one is the body cam / crime niche. I am in this niche myself, which is why I know it works. Those $2,000 days, $1,000 days that you saw earlier was this niche that I'm in. So the content is raw in real life footage that is recorded by police body cam stations. And you might be asking how do you find body cam footage? How do you actually obtain them? How do you actually edit them? That is disclosed, not in this video, but in my community. That being said, the content is raw footage, body cam, crime encounters, dash cam incidents. You can make upwards of $5 to $6. I've even seen people make upwards of $8 to $10 in this niche for every 1,000 views based on the duration of your content. So it's not crazy high. It's not like a $50 RPM, which you could potentially get when you are doing purely investors and business-based content. But the amount of views you're going to generate is going to compensate for it, thus making it one of the highest ceiling YouTube niches, right? A small competitor channel with 50 views, 50 videos or fewer are going to hit those $10,000 months. I hit my first 11.8K month with 36 videos or something ridiculously small. Midwest Safety, one of the biggest channels in this niche. They're pulling in multiple 5 figures a month profit. And in terms of overall revenue, they're clearing 6 figures. It also has the longevity aspect where it has been on YouTube for years. The channel is still growing actively, and it's going to continuously stay in relevancy for the next decade as well, because police is always going to stay in demand. Authentic and raw attention is going to always stay in demand. People getting screwed over by cops or beating cops is always going to stay in demand. The footage is sourceable. The editing is very, very straightforward. You just use an AI voiceover to actually produce these videos, resulting in a very, low effort based production process. It's quite easy to delegate, but it's also high barrier at the same time because so few people even know how to put together these videos, let alone how to put together these videos that go viral. So a channel that's sitting at 100 to 500K monthly views can earn upwards of $3 grand depending on the RPM and the video length. I had a video that generated 6.5K Canadian dollars that had I think 800,000 views, and that was one of the best videos I've ever done because I didn't come up with the title, I didn't come up with anything, my team did it for me. Super low effort on my side, but the barrier to entry is still super high. The micro positioning within this niche though is going to be the make or break, right? So when I said earlier, not many people know how to even go viral in body cam, it's absolutely true because they just post generic footages that are just kind of seen too much. And so this massive fan base of people who already have the wantingness to watch body cam footage, you've probably watched a lot of them already. So for you to put out a regular one, you're gonna get no views. You want to be the channel that posts content about dumb cops getting shut down by lawyers, or the channel about insane traffic stops, or the sub angle that gets you less competition with the same demand. I'm burping while speaking because because I'm a G. So subscribe if you like that. Hopefully that makes sense for you. If that makes sense, comment makes sense in the comments below. Number 2, this niche is going to be the self-help / personal development niche. This is not taking me to $11,000 a month in 6 months. This is actually a different niche, but it works super flawlessly because I do have a client in the self-help / personal development faceless niche. He's generating, I think, 2 to 4K every single month. He has a video that went viral and it got like 300,000 views or something. The viewers are so aspirational within content like this, and it's also a super evergreen niche, which is going to stay relevant forever, right? People constantly want to be better. People constantly want to earn more. People constantly want to live differently amongst everyone else. And so the RPM is going to also reflect that. And so realistically in this niche, if a channel is getting 500,000 views every single month, the content's targeted towards motivated people who have businesses, who are actually self-developing, actual high-level caliber individuals, and your video content is 30+ minutes, you can very easily earn $700 to $7,000 because the RPM is massively high, right? Q4, by the way, which is like October to December, is usually when the RPMs are the highest in all of YouTube, and so ad rates usually spike up at the time by like 30 to 50%. And when you're in this niche, attracting people who are genuinely super high-level business owners, they got everything in order, they're making money, they're good connections, they're from the States, 35 years old, you're gonna make a lot of money. And for some extra context, this is not my channel. This is one of my friends' channels I know of, and they're absolutely cracking insane numbers. So the production process is, again, a very high barrier to entry because your content has to feel genuine. It has to feel like you made a connection with the viewer, and usually it's like a faceless personal brand. But AI voiceover will work quite well if your tonality is there, then it doesn't sound like a ChatGPT robotic sound. Longevity, I already covered that. It's been around for like a decade, and it's not going anywhere. So super solid niche to pick as well. Now we get into the fun niches. Niche number 3 is the creepy horror stories video content. This is one of the most underrated longevity plays in the entire space of YouTube, because channels like Nuke's Top 5 with 5 million subscribers, they've been operating this niche for over a decade, which has so much insane proof. And I think this is the most long-term niche out of every other niche I'm about to show with you. So if you wanted to get into YouTube automation and make consistent cash flow for like the rest of your life, this has the highest possibility of sufficing for that. 8 to 10 million views every single month can come like clockwork. And this is a lot of views as well. You're not going to be able to get 10 million views off of content that is AI swap, like genuine AI swap. But if you utilize AI, you utilize a good storytelling, and you utilize a good evergreen niche to intrigue a mass audience, this can get you very insane numbers. And the reason why this kind of content works, 2.9 million views from 4 months ago, although this channel has been making content for a decade, is because people just want to be scared. If you ask your girlfriend, like, hey, what do you want to watch tonight? They're gonna be like, I want to watch a true crime horror video. And you're just like, what the fuck? People like to wind down and get dopamine receptors from being scared. They want to fall asleep to something dark and atmospheric. That demand does not expire, basically. I guarantee you, your girlfriend's gonna want to cuddle with you, and before that, she's gonna be like, I want to watch something scary, and then use that as an excuse to like at 2 a.m. The RPM range for this niche can be $8 upwards to $15, purely from the demographic of who watches these videos and the duration of these videos, right? Going back to right over here, this is a 1.5 hour long YouTube video, and so when you consider the fact that there's gonna be so many ads playing throughout this entire duration, people watching the whole thing, you can get ad rates of very conservatively closer to the $15 mark. You do the math on that. What's 3 million times 15? Sorry, 3,000 times 15, because that video got like 3 million views. What is that? 45 grand that one video made? Absolutely ridiculous. So again, this is another competitor channel that is a lot smaller, but still proof that you can work super well. This channel in this space has under 20,000 subscribers. They're making $9,000 a month with just shy of 500,000 views and a $15 RPM because their content is over an hour long. I was assigned to a remote cabin in the Apple launches. I found a list of terrifying rules. And then you see this AI generated thumbnail, which is kind of considered AI slop. But if you have a good script and you have good storytelling that is either genuinely true or provides education value, you're gonna be fine. You can see these videos are super long, blah, blah, blah. I already kind of covered that. And so a channel with 100K to 500K monthly views, by the way, I'm using these numbers because it's so conservative. It's so genuinely attainable within reason. Can make you a full-time income. It can make you 6 figures, close to 6 figures per year, 7.5K times 12. I think that's like 96K, right? A lot of money with just 500,000 views. Longevity, it's proven for over a decade. This is a niche that you can be building on and still earning after 5 years, after 10 years, after 15 years. And so the production process for for this niche is, again, use 11 Labs to make the voiceover, because you actually preferably want to use 11 Labs over real person for this niche, because you want that horror, low, deep voiceover, and you don't want the narration to make mistakes, because if it's like one gloomy day, the actor, and then you just cut off the suspense. So use 11 Labs. It matches the niche, blah, blah, blah. Both of these things, there's no dead air. Super, super imperative to succeed. This is actually, in my opinion, if I wanted to start a brand new channel in a completely different niche that I've never been in, I would choose this one. Righty, niche number 4 is the social media how-to niche. And I chose this niche because it's not the #1 highest earning one, but it did make my first 6 figures from this niche. And so it's always going to be my list top 5. It is, again, evergreen, and it's a search-based play. So unlike every other niche I've shown you, this is going to be attracting the views from people already looking up your content, and you're basically just applying for that existing demand. Browse is completely different. So people type in how to see a private Instagram account or how to delete Spotify, boom, you show up in the rankings on YouTube, boom, you get 1,000 views, which is pretty shitty, but the money's not made from that one video. It's made from a backlog. And this works because as long as, you know, social media platforms exist, or just platforms in general exist, which I'm sure it will, you can make a lot of money. You can see right over here, right? A channel made a 1-minute screen recording update about Instagram. It takes maybe $2 to outsource, or 10 minutes on your side to actually make from start to finish. And it got 190,000 views in its first month of being posted. Another video in the same niche hit 100,000 views after being posted for a year, and at a $2 RPM rate, which is quite normal for this niche. That's $200 for a video that costs less than $5 to make, right? And so, like I said, the money's not made from one video, but when you have hundreds or thousands of videos that's generating you unrealized earnings of 200 plus to even close to thousands of dollars lifetime, you're making back a 10, 20, 30x ROI on delegation. So it's a slow to start, but super high compounding and super high profits YouTube channel. Another thing about this niche is that because it's so easy to create 1-minute video content, 2-minute video content, you can see right over here, right? These videos are beginner friendly, and this is probably the easiest niche out of every other niche to start if you wanted to actually make money on YouTube. It's a lower RPM niche, but the production cost is the lowest. Again, some channels that I've shown earlier could cost you $200 to make. This one, less than $5 to make. So that is where the volume game comes into play, and you want to genuinely focus on mass posting. So you can see a channel at this amount of views will probably earn you $2,000. The ceiling is definitely lower, but it's a consistent and stress-free autopilot-based YouTube channel that is best for people who want a stable, predictable income with the lowest production cost and complexity. So if you're like a 50-year-old retired skateboarder, cool, this is for you. I stole that from Conor McGregor. I would recommend it. If I wanted to rate it from 1 to 10, I would give it like 7.9. Pretty solid niche. Niche number 5 is celebrity drama and pop culture news. This is going to be another very high ceiling browse-based niche, and people who are already searching for this content are going to be already watching. You're just positioning as a faceless channel inside of this existing demand of people who like drama and celebrity. You ask your girlfriend again, hey, what do you want to watch on YouTube? I want to watch Kim Kardashian's drama. You can see right over here. Remember this video? It actually broke the world record for most amount of views on a non-music label YouTube video in 24 hours. And I think it got 60 million or 48 million. So it has insane demand because of hype and because of drama. Boom. Trend jacking works perfectly here because the subject already has attention. You don't need to have a very good video. You don't have to have a very good process. You just have to be the fastest and first person to capitalize on it. It's kind of like news reporting, right? If you see a massive news article, or Epstein's files, released, if you're the first person to make about it, you can get views. Even if you were like 2 months late to it, and even if you have the best quality ever, you're gonna not get views because there's already so many videos about it. You're borrowing the audience from the story, you're not building one from scratch. A channel with 85 subscribers here nailed it perfectly on the fight of Jake Paul versus all his competitors, and it got 60k views. Andrew Tate compilation, 1.4 million views, all pulling in hundreds of thousands of views on content that costs almost nothing to make because the footage is already free for you to grab, and the demand is already there. The RPM range for this niche is going to be about $6 on the higher end, $3 on the lower end, and it's enormous when you have a timing correct based YouTube trend. I've seen single videos in this entire space pull $10K plus in a week. I actually have a friend slash client of mine, name is called Steven. He made an I show speed video, and that video ended up getting, I think, 6.8 million views in the first month. It made him a $3K day or a $2K day, and it was ridiculous. Production process now to actually build up these videos is quite simple as well because it has a super fast turnover speed. You need one footage guy to actually access the footage, either screen recording or downloading, a small trim to make a compilation, or a small remuneration, and the longevity of it is also super high. Because it has been a thing on YouTube for, again, over a decade. News, drama, and the specific trend will change, but the niche will not change. Your audience can slightly change, but the idea doesn't change. The hype never changes, right? So $3,000 off of 500K monthly views. The key principle here is that timing is honestly the most important thing. Like how I said earlier, when something breaks, you need to post it within 2 days maximum. That's the window to fix. After that, you're gonna get 20 channels making content about it, and then you're gonna be another video in the wind. It's the basic dynamics of supply and demand. If you can understand that, not only are you gonna nail in this niche, but you're gonna also nail in this niche. These two are super congruent because it's the basics of supply and demand and speed of turnover. I'd rate this niche, again, 7.5, just because the saturation and the timing of it and your team's skill sets in terms of speed is massively important. So that being said, the 5 niches that I've already shown you is there. Now I want to go over the 3 niches that you want to absolutely stay away from. Going with purely AI generated story content / AI sleep content. This niche looks incredible, right? It looks like this. Channels like Insomnia Rules, they build it to $14,000 a month, 140 videos in 4 months, RPM is massive. On hindsight, it looks like a super solid opportunity. The problem where it lies within YouTube is that YouTube is already cracking down actually on AI produced YouTube content. So there's no proof that a fully AI generated channel is going to be able to survive for the next 3 months, 5 months, 10 months. And the channels are winning right now are winning in a window. And this window is going to gradually close until it's 0. So I'm personally haven't been stepping in this niche. This is one of the biggest reasons, because I can't tell you honestly if it's going to be still viable in 2027 or if it's going to be fully cracked down and not monetizable. So although Insomnia Rules is still producing content, doing good numbers right now, I don't know what it's going to look like next year from now. And if you're building a business, you have to be able to tell that yourself, which is why we've been able to generate consistent results for the last 2 years and going as well. And so if you want an AI assisted production, right, have it do the production work for you, but not be the entire thesis and the entire genre of your channel. But a channel, you read that yourself, I'm not gonna read over that. Avoid number 2, generic motivation quotes channels. The reason why is just simply because every guru publishes this and says that, oh, meditation content is gonna get you views, quotes is gonna get you views. It's easy to explain. And every guru says that it's like super low effort. Yeah, it's low effort, you can get no money though. And so when you understand that this space itself is completely saturated, it's completely just taken over by YouTube, and also YouTube doesn't like to push out this video anymore, you're not gonna do well. The big channels have enormous cult followings. Most new channels have nothing to showcase for, you know, something that is differentiating or suspense or better, and the content is interchangeable, very massive. And so the RPM is super low. It's like $2 because the audience will screw into broad people from India and kids who just want generic motivation, and they're not going to be valuable to the advertisers who are paying dollars to place their ads in front of the content. And so you're not going to be able to get $5,000+ per month on a small channel. Small channels in this niche don't have outlier videos. Like how I always say, right, if you cannot find a small channel in the niche that's pulling in real numbers, you're not going to be that small channel. You can do a lot worse than that. And avoid number 3, any niche where the industry leader is making under 10 grand a month. This is just a generic principle more than a specific niche, but it eliminates a huge range of ideas that look viable on surface level, right? So the idea behind it is that if the best channels in your entire space is only earning 8 grand a month, if a beginner starts fresh, you get a fraction of that. The ceiling's too low for the effort required. And so you can probably make 2 grand a month, but who wants to make 2 grand a month for the rest of your life, right? So gaming channels, cooking channels, generic vlogs, the market cap will tell you everything, honestly. If you source the top 1 or 2 channels that are doing super good, green light. You eliminate their monthly views and you multiply it by a reasonable RPM, perfect. If the number isn't substantial, then you move on to a different idea. Perfect. Again, flex break. I've gotten so many channels to monetization. I've helped so many clients reach monetization and making full-time income. I want you to understand one thing. The best case scenario in a low ceiling niche is still not good enough. But if you want a niche where even if you underperform, you're still making real money, that is where the money is made. And that's how I'm able to crack 4-figure days and 5-figure months consistently. So there it is. The 5 niches are currently producing real money right now, which is body cam again, self-help, horror stuff, social media, how-to/tutorials, and also the celebrity/drama. The 3 to stay away are, again, pure AI content, generic motivational videos, and anything with a market cap that's too low for you to even consider. You now have a short list, you know the reasoning behind every single niche, and also not just the recommendations. This is what I want you to do. Don't just pick a niche and start guessing. Go over what I just showed you, which is finding a small competitor channel in the niche that you're considering. Under 50 videos, you've been going at it for 3 to 4 months. Estimate their monthly revenue, and obviously if it checks out, then that is for you. Now, if you want my team to help you pick out the perfect niche for you and just not some generic recommendation, but actually looking at your budget, your timeline, what type of content you're able to run, then click the link in the description and fill out that quick form. Because picking the niche, that's step one, but building the systems, placing the team, actually getting the channel monetized, knowing exactly what to do when your first 10 videos don't even pop, that's everything after. And that's exactly what we do inside of the program. Again, Darren's at 11K a month, Jet, 4K in his second month, Hardjacks, Richard, John Mack, many other people that are currently building profitable and fastly growing YouTube channels right now. And every single one of them started with the one decision, which is picking out the perfect niche for them. Link in the description, fill out that form, and I'll see you inside. And if this helped, subscribe. I'm breaking down the full system step by step. You do not want to miss out on the next video.